I'm not sure if that quit recording or what. Again, I am not an expert at this. So what I was saying was I attacked my first two loans. They were about $2,700 a piece. And I just paid whatever I could on a given day. So it might be $5 a day per loan. It might be $10 a day per loan. It might be $50 per day per loan on a good collection day. And this started about last November of 2019. And I paid and paid and paid, but I didn't get aggressive. I just started to flex that muscle and exercise that habit of making payments. And round about the end of August of 2020, I paid those two loans off and it felt tremendously satisfying. I was really proud of myself. It's like, wow, I've been lugging those things around. I think those loans I've had since 2006. So 14 years, those loans have been in my life. I finally paid those off and they weren't big to begin with, but it was enough to get me started. So I attacked student loan number 3 starting in August of, I guess it was like August 28th, right around there, where I made my first payment that was substantial and specifically directed towards that third student loan, which was my third lowest balance. And I attacked that thing, and God, it was over $10,000. It was like $10,500 when I started to pay on it. And by the middle of December, end of December, I had that sucker paid off. So 3 loans in 1 year. And I paid right about $20,000 last year, only to see my balance decrease by a whopping $5,000 or so. It barely made a dent in the overall balance, but it got me a little bloodthirsty. It got me thinking, okay, I can do this. I can move the needle, but holy hell, it's going to take way more of an effort than I realized. And I've got to get serious and I've got to get started. So here I am. I'm working away at the 4th loan of 12 total. So we've been going after it. It started out in the $13,000 something range. And we're going to log in and we'll take a look, and I'm going to show you how things are. Let me flip the screen around here. Get that out of the way. And I film with Zoom if you're wondering. So here we are in my Navient account. Now, every month on the 16th, I'm still on an income-based repayment program. So they take out a chunk of money every month. It just depends on how I did, like, 1 year versus the other, how much this thing fluctuates. I had a lot of write-offs last year, so I ended up not showing a whole lot of income. So $278 a month is what I'm paying on my income-based repayment. Now, let me tell you, these guys are happy to keep your payment low, because all it does is cause the interest to balloon, and they own you forever. And we don't want to do that. So here I am today. I told you the highest my loans ever got were $283,500. Look at that. We've crossed the $10,000 mark now in how much this has been decreased. So that's fantastic. I just realized that. And we are currently paying on student loan number 3. And it started out, I started paying on it a few weeks ago. God, we can go look at the history of this. Again, I'm just doing a recap video. I'm assuming you guys aren't watching every video I've made. And I would like to recap what we've been doing. So right here, this is when I paid December 23rd. So I started like August 28th. By December 23rd, I paid off that loan that was $10,000 something, $10,300-ish. I paid that sucker off with one big lump sum payment in December and had it gone. And then we got started. Oh, look, December 24th, we got started on the next loan. We just started getting after it. $200, $100, $200, $100, $100. I got that stimulus check for $1,200 for me and my daughter, made a $1,200 payment. Plus I threw another $100 at it. $100, $50, $100. Again, not huge sums of money. There's, every once in a while when I get a bonus or I get some chunk of money in, I can throw a fat sum at it. But a lot of these you're going to see day in and day out, are $100, $50, just depending on what I can do. Now today I had a good day of collections. I had some payments come in. So we're going to make a dent in this thing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is I'm a hustler. I'm a side hustler for buying and selling anything I can to make extra money. So I had a set of tires laying in my garage, and I sold those for $100. I sold an old router for $75 that I had laying around that wasn't even being used. And I also help a patient of mine. She has some expensive slash valuable items she wants to get rid of, and I help her because she's not very skilled with eBay. So I helped her. I helped her sell a blanket this last week for like $625, some collectible blanket, and I made a couple bucks helping her there. And she kind of got gouged by the eBay fees, so I only charged her $25. But she helps me, I help her. And so, just there today, I can contribute $200 just from side hustle money of things I've done in the past week, and that's money that I've personally made through side hustle, and then I'm going to throw some other money at it as well. So today we're going to do specify for each loan. I need to pause this for a second. I need to add a bank account. And then once I add that back in, we'll be able to do it. Okay, so we should be back in here. We are going to go to student loan number 3. And oh, guys, I'm close. It's a little too much of a stretch today. So I'm at 635. So here's my strategy. I always like to get to the next lowest number. So if I were making a small payment, I might make enough to get to the 11 fives. Call it $75. Or $70. I might make that like that payment. But like in this case, I've got $200 for money that I just hustled up myself over the weekend and in the past week. So we're going to make a $200 payment from this account towards that loan. And there it goes. Okay. And then I told you I had a good collection day today. So we're going to make another payment from my other account. And this one, I'm going to do $315. Now I know for a fact that right there covers my weekly interest alone. And I'm going to throw all of that money at this one particular loan. So there we go. There's $515 just paid on it today. So what does that take us to? We're close, guys. We're close to the next number. So I'm always trying to get to that next level. So in my case, I'm trying to get to the 273s. We want to get out of the 274s and into the 273s. And ultimately, we want to be out of the 270s by the end of this month. And I've got a plan to do that. So 274,593.16 minus, we paid 315 minus, and then 200. It's 274,078. So look at that. We are so close to being into the 273s. We will probably get there tomorrow. Now, keep in mind, there's $45 in interest today, $45 in interest tomorrow. So this stuff gets eaten up. And this is where we get clobbered, is that interest. So we just have to make the payments constantly. For those of you guys that don't dig around in your in your loans enough, let me show you one other valuable tool. You go here over to tools and requests and use this tool right here, this interest calculator. It's really helpful. Okay. This shows the total amount of interest my loans accrue in one single day. And down here, you'll see $44.59 is what it accrues. Like I said, 45 bucks. And then in a 31-day month, $1,382. So call it $1,400 a month in interest. That means I make $1,400 payment, not one penny of that goes to principal. So it is an ugly number. That's why the only way out of this thing is making big bulk payments. Like for now, it's like at least cover the interest on a bad month. You know, my minimum payment per month, it's now become a discipline. This didn't happen in the beginning. That like paying this seemed impossible even a year ago, even 6 months ago, this number seemed impossible. But when I chunk it down and I pay daily and weekly, it's so much more manageable. And that's this, I mean, that is the ultimate secret, is that small amounts daily lead to the biggest amount of change I've ever seen financially. And that's true if you're saving money or trying to pay down debt. They both work like that. But look at that. Isn't that number just disgusting? So we want to make some of these big loans go away so that it's not so bad. I've got a few more of these small loans to attack before we start getting into the big boys. Let's look, loan details. But use that calculator, guys. It really is a helpful tool. I'm just giving you kind of a roadmap of where I am and where I'm going. This loan here, look, we're almost, where were we today? We didn't even do the math. 11,635.82 minus, we paid $515 today. 11,120.82. So we're almost into the tens. And the way I plan to attack this is I get some bonus work that comes in every now and again, and they pay me really good money per hour for this side hustle work. And I typically get a check for anywhere from $1,500 to like $4,000 at a time when I do these. These are special things that don't come along all the time, but I just plan to throw all that money at it. So, for example, I just did one today. It was like a $4,000 job. So, you know, you just think if I make that payment coming up, it starts to eat away at these things pretty fast. I have a goal of paying this loan off within 5 years. And in order to do that, I calculated it to be $5,500 a month. So let's $5,500 a month, 274,593 go divided by 60 payments at this point. That's where I am per month right now. And that doesn't include the interest. So you have to add in the interest on top of that. So the total amount I have to pay is substantially higher. It comes out to like $330,000. Because if you go, if you take this total number and then let's just say we add 60 months. So 60 months at $1,400 a month interest is $84,000 plus 274,593, 358,000 divided by 60 months. It shows you where I have to be in order to make that, in order to get that thing paid off. Now, hopefully at some point we'll be able to get a real grip on this thing and get a big chunk of it paid down, get all that compounding interest paid off. And I may be able to refinance. It might make sense at that time. And if I can get it down to like a 2% or 3% interest, maybe I'll be able to make much bigger jumps. But I got to get that first 100,000 out of the way. And I've got to get all that compounded interest. That's the other thing. So part of the reason my loans ended up in such disaster state is that on a couple of different occasions here, I'm going to flip back so I can talk to you guys candidly. This gives you an idea of what the account looks like. Stop sharing. Okay, I'm back. So that gives you an idea of what my account looks like. But really quick, the reason I ended up in such a disaster, aside from ignoring my loans, was I didn't understand how certain features of income-based repayment work. And I'm going to give you a little tidbit of advice right here. Every time, like every year that you remain in the program of income-based repayment, you have to recertify your income each year by sending them your tax return, and they recalculate and do whatever they do, and then they come up with the payment that you owe them every month. And there were a couple times where my tax forms weren't complete and I needed a little more time to get them done. And they said, oh, it's no problem. Don't worry about it. You have 60 months of forbearance that you can use in the life of the loan. So if you need to use 1 month of forbearance, it's no big deal. There won't be any payments. And then we can just pick this back up in January. So on like 3 different occasions, I accepted that offer, and I had no idea what I had done. Here's the deal, and pay attention. Like, seriously, pay attention. If you don't know what I'm about to say, you need to know, and you need to hear this, because I don't hear anybody else talking about this, and it's a freaking emergency. So you got to know this. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I accepted that forbearance. Now, whenever a loan under an income-based repayment program utilizes forbearance, a deferment, or if you decide to change payment plans and go into, say, a standard repayment plan or repay or pay as you earn, any of those different plans, if you change plans or use forbearance or do a deferment for a month, any of the interest that has been accumulating in the what they call the capitalized interest column, it's interest that's not currently on your principal balance. It accumulates in a separate pile, and it adds up separately from the amount of interest being accrued that you see on your loans when you look at it. So in my case, I used it 3 different times, and I never ever sifted through my loans. I didn't want to look at them. I was scared to look at them, so I just ignored them. So I never understood this until I dug back through them years later. Each time, there was like 3 times I used forbearance because I didn't have my stuff in order. It cost me to the tune of $14,000 overnight that they stacked onto the principal, $15,000. So call it $45,000 of this balance that I'm looking at right now is because of ignorance and just plain stupidity, because I used 1 month of forbearance and they tacked on $15,000 each time. It's nuts. Maybe in another video, I'll go back and show you like where it came from and how bad it was. But let me tell you, do not use forbearance or deferment ever. Find a way to make the payment. Don't be late with getting your income-based repayment application in. Get it in ahead of time. Make sure they don't screw you around, and make sure that when you speak to them on the phone, that you clearly and concisely communicate your point. Because even this year I called and I had a specific question. It had nothing to do with forbearance. And the guy on the phone was trying to guide me into, oh, so do you think you need forbearance this month? And it's a scam, guys. Do not use forbearance or deferment. It will cost you tremendously. So that leads me to my final point of the evening. At some point when I get this loan under control and I've got a big chunk of it paid down, I'll have all of the compounding interest paid up. That's my goal. If I pay this thing down $100,000 and I'm in the 170s or back to my original balance, then it might be a time to consider either consolidation or a refinancing program, because I'll have excellent credit and I may be able to qualify for a much lower interest rate. And at that point, I'm going to be so certain that I'm paying these things off. I won't be scared of it. Like right now, there's still that like reservation of I want to make sure I can stick to this. And because once you either consolidate or you refinance, there's no safety nets. You have no more help. There's no longer income-based repayment. There's no longer student loan forgiveness. Like, you're on your own. You can convert them to a Department of Education loan, I believe, and then you can somehow, in a backwards way, I think you can still do income-based repayment that way. But if you want to get the best rate and you want to save a bunch of money, which is why you would refinance them, and it's why, you'd consolidate. They want you to take on all that risk. So if you're trying to get down to that 3% rate, well, yeah, you're going to have to take the risk and roll the dice. So I think at 170,000, I'd feel much more comfortable doing it, and it wouldn't be so bad. But right now, I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm just going to keep paying. But my theory and Dave Ramsey's theory is that if you pay aggressively on these things, the little bit of money that you're going to save really isn't worth. It may not be worth all the hassle of going through all of that. In my case, look, I'm already looking at was that $80,000 over 5 years of interest. So I actually have incentive to pay this thing off faster. Like if I say I want to pay it off in 5 years, my hope and prayer is that I can do it in 3, because I want this thing out of my life. Anyway, I probably talked and rambled on plenty tonight. Thank you guys for watching. $515 tonight out of 274,000 and change. So we continue the journey, but remember, it's those small amounts daily and frequently. You guys make a payment today. Get on it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.